Beautiful day outside today. So I just wanted to sit down with you. Welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about why did I switch from AT&T fiber using the BGW-320 router to Verizon Fios fiber interconnect using their Wi-Fi 6 router. So as we understand, having a robust internet service in today's world is crucial for your entertainment, for your work needs, for functionality purposes. Like I have everything connected to the internet within my house: light switches, garage doors, fireplaces, microwave, ring doorbell. These are some of the things people don't really connect their internet with, but just to give you an idea. And then of course the other stuff goes without saying, right? It's sort of windy now all of a sudden, but that's cool. I like it. I don't know if you guys see the surrounding, but it's really beautiful day outside today. So I just wanted to sit down with you guys and kind of talk about this important matter, right? So there are only a handful of providers that you could actually borrow internet from in the United States. You have AT&T being one, you have Verizon Fios, then you have Optimum, then you have Altice, then you have Xfinity. And if you know of any other providers, they are basically piggybacking or backhauling or backboning off of these larger providers that I just spoke of. So if you're using their service, obviously they're probably not that reliable at all. So this video is not even about that. So why did I switch from AT&T to Verizon? I think that's the $1,000,000 question and being addressed in this video. And by the end of this video, you guys will have a full understanding of why you may also want to switch. So as you all know, I used to work for AT&T Consulting for about 5 years in the city of Dallas. Dallas being the hub, it's the headquarters of AT&T, and I was well integrated over there and had a really good time working in the consulting firm, met a lot of good people, made a lot of good connections. So one day we happened to have an email coming from the product team that they are about to launch a 320 BGW device, which is a residential gateway, and they wanted to go away from the BGW-210 device, which was already in the market, and you've probably seen it. It's like a black box, Aris, it says on it, and I think majority of the people in the United States have that, who have the AT&T service. Although you could connect fiber on it as well and everything, but this new router that was developed by Nokia that AT&T uses for their Wi-Fi 6 capabilities. When I used to work for AT&T, I got an email from the product team saying if I'm interested to reply back to the email and everything. So I jumped on it right away because at that point I think it was not even in the market, nobody knew about it. No marketing material was out there from AT&T about it. It was just going through the testing phases. So I signed up for it, and next thing you know, I got a 320 router in mail, and they also scheduled a technician to come out, and they actually configured the router in my closet. ONT doesn't terminate in the garage anymore. It actually goes into the closet, and the fiber connection goes straight into the SFP module on the back of the router. So all I had to do was basically report back on it to make sure, like as a residential user, that everything is working well for that Wi-Fi. And the best thing was that they were giving me credits for the internet service. So not only, that I get, I think it was like 10 or 20 bucks a month that I was paying for AT&T fiber, which is I think about an 80% discount from what the cost of the service is in actual. At that time, there were no issues. I have to be real about that. There were no issues with the router. But as it started getting deployed to a larger audience to test out the device, there were some issues that started to come along. And obviously 210 was better as it was rigorously tested out, and it was in the market for quite a long time. And everything was working really, really well because I think everybody that was using the 210 device. So just going away with that, I was kind of excited that I'm getting the new Wi-Fi 6, but at the same time, I was like, what if it has a lot of problems? Then what happens, right? So either way, I think the first thing was that I started feeling a lot of intermittent connection drops. It was random, sporadic, at different times. So every time you want to try to troubleshoot it, you have to capture the issue or you have to replicate the problem and see, why it's happening, right? But I was not able to reproduce it because it would just happen at random times. And if you try to do a packet capture, you have to enable the logging in that time frame that the issue happens to capture it. If you run the packet capture throughout the day, that's gonna destroy your CPU and bring the router down and the memory and everything. So you have to be a little bit strategic about how you actually do the packet capture, but without getting too technical. So another thing, this router, I was having issues with was with the range. So I lived in a 3,200 square feet house, and this router provided about 3,500 square feet of coverage. And the coverage wasn't sufficient, right? I mean, I was not getting coverage in the far corners of the house like they promised. But again, I'm not gonna blame completely the router for that, because the router really has to be centrally located within the house for the coverage to be touching each corners of the house. But the way things are, and I'm sure same thing with you, these devices are basically installed within closets or garages. So those closets or garages or whatever are in one corner of the house. So if you're putting a router there, it's going to be kind of difficult for it to reach the other side of the house because it's on the complete opposite side. So, but again, knowing that's how the routers are deployed, they should have thought about that and did something about that rather than having people use it and then figure it out on their own. But range was another issue that I was having. And then the biggest problem that I really had with the AT&T BGW-320 was the compatibility issues, right? So, range was being one of the problems. I repeatedly mentioned that. So I had to bring in my own mesh network. So I was using Netgear Orbi, and I was doing pass-through from 320 to Orbi, and then Orbi was connected to multiple nodes, and it was broadcasting the signal through that, and then the nodes were backhauling wirelessly to the main master node, and that's how everything was configured. So again, I guess it was the amount of hops that I had to go through, but it basically I basically had to reboot it a lot of times for the connection speeds to get faster. It would be intermittent drops, and I isolated the 320 device from the mesh network to make sure that I'm not blaming the wrong device. And I even used ASUS router. I used no routers at all with the 320, and the problem was still the same. So everything was coming. The problem was the 320 at that time, and when I used the Netgear Orbi or the ASUS by itself, it would work fine. So either way, ASUS had a terrible time with the 320 device. Netgear Orbi was okay, but compatibility issues were a big problem with this router, and I feel like how much more do I have to keep finding out about this router before I have to make the switch? And then last but not least, the biggest problem of all, which shouldn't have been a problem if they rectified this and trained their employees correctly, was customer service was terrible. Terrible customer service. I made videos about this, and you guys have seen my videos. helping people out, right? 50% of the problems were what kind of LED lights are on the router, what do they mean, and stuff like that. So people are calling customer service. Half the customer service department didn't even know this router was deployed. So they did a poor job on training their employees to help the customers who were calling in with the problem with the router. At that point, I mean, obviously the 320 was being deployed into different residential homes, and it was being replaced by the 210. And this router was specifically given out to new customers in the beginning, or somebody who would have crazy amount of issues with the 210, which is rare. Those are being replaced with the 320s. So customer service was terrible. I actually Googled up Nokia manual for this router that would tell you how to do certain things on the router, and I would try to help people out as much as I can, do my part. And although this was not my job or anything, I just felt like, as a YouTuber, I have the platform to be able to share with a wider audience, people especially who are having the same issues that I am with the router, right? So I think that really they prematurely deployed the router to the residences without training their employees to be able to help troubleshoot them if the problem does arise. And I think that was a big problem that they could have rectified early on in the game, right? Instead of just pumping it out, hey, we're the first ones with the Wi-Fi 6 touchdown, right? I mean, Verizon's out there too, and I've been using them for about 3 months now, and honestly, like, I'm not connecting no mesh networks to that as a pass-through or anything. I'm just using it as is. I don't want to mess with it. So far, it's been tremendously nice. No connection drops, nothing. Everything's pretty good. There has been 1 or 2 times something happens, but that could be like interference or something like that. I'm not going to completely blame the router for that, but the fiber has been really good. So I'm sticking to it. Although I do have to pay full amount now, which is fine as long as I get reliable internet connection, right? So that's what I wanted to share this video with you guys and talk to you about. But do let me know in the comments if you're having issues, and how, if you like the router, the 320, that's awesome. But if you don't, drop it in the comment. Either way, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And if you like this type of video, I'll definitely make more of them. But I think I'm going to be making a couple more videos about 320. So stay tuned. And if you haven't subscribed and you learned anything from this video, make sure you do subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next drop.